Let's see here. All right.
Hanging out in the studio with Rafi.
Hello, all you awesome artists out there. This video is going to be slightly different. This video is for Lucy. Rafi, this week I was given my Art A-level paper. I came across your art while exploring the subject. I would just like to say that your artwork is amazing and very creative. I was wondering if you have any time to answer the following questions. Yes, Lucy, absolutely. I have time to answer the following questions for you. I thought I would share this with all you guys just because it's kind of fun getting asked these questions. This is going to be based on a work of art that I created. It is a sold work and it's called No Strings Attached. What was your inspiration for your piece, No Strings Attached? Okay, so Lucy, my inspiration for that piece was actually based on my life. Back in the day when I was working in the corporate world, I had this feeling that I basically just was led around making choices and decisions based on the status quo, on doing things the way that you're supposed to do them. Although for the most part, I feel like, I'm a free human. A lot of the choices that I made during that time in my life were very much attached to some kind of fear. Pretty much, even though I didn't necessarily like my job, I went and did my job every day and even worked overtime and extra hours because, I was afraid of losing my job. So I basically would jump through hoops and do whatever it took in order to keep that job. And a lot of the things in my life were kind of like that. So no matter what, there was always some kind of string attached. So that painting is very symbolic of that time in my life. Question number 2, what was your inspiration? So my inspiration was taking that moment in my life and seeing if I could put a different twist on it, almost make it like a representation of who I am now. If you notice, the strings are transparent. So the idea was to realize that the strings itself, the obligations and the things that you feel that you have to do, or the things that you're afraid of not doing, just in case you, if you don't do this thing, bad things will happen and all that stuff. The reason I made them transparent was because the strings in of themselves were an illusion. So basically, all of the attachments and all the things that I had set for myself, all the rules that I had set for myself, the simple fact was that I was the one that was setting those rules for myself. It didn't matter if my job was like, you need to do this, and even though this compromises you as a person and you don't want to fire this person because they did nothing wrong, but you need to cut payroll, you need to fire this person. I still, even in that moment, other than the fact of having fear of losing my job if I didn't conform, I still had a choice. Now, back then, I didn't realize I had a choice. So this painting is a symbol of that. The fact that it was just an illusion. And even though I thought someone else was making me do it, like the dog made me do it, no one else was making me do it. I was still free. I still had a choice to make in those moments. Number 3, why do you not show defined facial features to show emotion? The reason is because this piece has mostly to do with the emotion of the body language. I didn't want to detract from the overall composition of the piece by confusing it or making it very, very specific with facial expression. So I wanted the body language to kind of speak, because you could either look at this piece and it'll look erratic to you. It almost looks like the marionette is dancing. It almost looks very happy, but also kind of erratic at the same time. And if I were to add emotion, facial features, I feel like that would have detracted from the piece itself. Number 4, why do a lot of your figures look like a wooden mannequin in both yellow color and shape? What is the significance of using this? When it comes to doing my shading or doing a lot of the color, there are 2 specific colors that are actually my favorite when it comes to doing humans or doing any kind of mannequin thing. And I think one of the 2 colors are that wooden, almost like a mustard and a brown color. And then I love using the blues as well. And I think the reason is because it doesn't make it specific to one race. I think in the past, when I was creating these pieces, I wanted to stay away from making them very normal. I wanted them to have a very distinct style and a distinct look to them. And so I think because I love using those colors, that's one of the reasons that I used them. And eventually it just kind of became like my signature thing. Although, I also, like I said, this piece is a great symbol for this because I'm also venturing out of that a little bit because I don't want to be niched into just one specific style. Number 5, why do you sculpt the human figure in awkward, unnatural positions? So I think there's a power behind being able to communicate something through body language. And a lot of times when you're doing a certain pose, like you could do a power pose or something like that, in taking it to the extreme, you're expressing that emotion even more powerfully. So I'll take an image like a power pose, for example. Like, let's say I could put my arms back and I'm looking up at the sky, right? There's only so far that I could go doing this, me naturally, myself. Obviously, I'm not the most flexible person in the world, but in order to be able to portray that feeling and that image, I think that when you take a certain figurative pose to an extreme, it's it could go either way. So you want to be careful with this too. You don't want to go too extreme or too awkward, but there's a fine balance there where you could really communicate what it is that you're trying to say about the human condition by using some of these strange, awkward poses that actually set themselves apart from what is typically out there. And that's it. Thank you so much, Rafi. Best wishes, Lucy. Thank you, Lucy, for these questions. It was really fun exploring that piece. Like I said, I created that piece years ago, and it's really cool to be able to think about that and visit that piece again. I remember when I created it, I had thought of creating a series like that because I really liked it, and it was one of those creative projects that is still sitting in my notebook along with the other hundreds of creative projects that are sitting in my notebook. So thank you for asking me these questions. Thank you for allowing me to share it with everyone. Hopefully I answered those for you in a satisfactory manner, and hope you do really well on this paper. And again, thank you for asking the questions. Thank you, everyone else, if you sat through this and watched it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I totally adore you. And I'll talk to you later. Gonna get back to maybe pull out that notebook and work on some of those hundreds of creative ideas that are just sitting in a notebook. That would be a good idea, especially now. All right, adios.